All right. Let me
Here we
welcome
go.
everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. We've had a few conversations for those who got on earlier and those who got on real early. Had the Dr. Jim and Dr. Linda entertainment hour prior to that, which was a lot of fun for everybody, um, which we appreciate. We do like to get on and visit a little early. If anybody wants to jump on and come in early, you're welcome to. Anyway, elevation call. So what is elevation call? Elevation call is Hal and Lisa's Sunday night training that we've been doing. Lisa's been doing for over 3.5 years. And then when we fell in love and started building this business together, she drug me into this back when it was just phone call conference calls, right? And then 2 years ago, we started doing Zoom meetings and really enjoyed the Sunday night Zoom. So it's expanded and grown, but it's always stayed with the main purpose. And that is to focus on elevating your business. It used to be called the Jeep call because one of the focus points of business growth with Zalise is earning your Jeep and then helping the members on your team to earn their Jeep as well. So the more Jeeps that you have in your team, the more successful you are in Zalise and the more income that you earn personally, but also success is based on paying it forward to help others do the same thing. Several months ago, we decided to shift the name of the call to Elevation because even though we talk about how to build the business and earn your Jeep, a big part of what we've been doing is coaching people to elevate their mindset, elevate their belief, elevate their action, elevate a lot of things. And so we shifted with the name of it simply to say we're elevating our focus, elevating our attention to service, service to one another. It's all about elevation. And a lot of it honestly has to do with elevating our mindset, our thinking. So, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, just with some stories, which are encouraging and elevating. Um, Honestly, for me and for Lisa, elevating the joy that we have in hearing people's stories about what these products that began with Lisa, it changed her life, her son's life 3.5 years ago, and then sharing it with others. For us, it's an elevation of joy for us to hear so many other people's stories. And I just want to say, we may hear from some people from Tyler, but the highlight, even though Stephen Thompson was maybe y'all's highlight there in Tyler the other night, for me looking in, I've heard Stephen talk a bunch, but for me looking in was the stories that people told that brought tears to my eyes on a couple of them, honestly. And as I was just watching the Zoom, and believe me, that doesn't happen every time I watch a Zoom that I get a little misty eyed. But the other night in Tyler, that happened to me. So it's about elevation. And anyway, so we may have some new people on the call tonight.
Yeah.
And we just want to welcome them. Anything you want to say about that?
Well, definitely just kind of a review, because we do have new people on this call. We always just want to review the three main purposes of Zalise as a company. And this is communicated in the plan, the business presentation in the back office. Stephen is doing it as we speak in Phoenix, Arizona for the first time. So that's kind of a new market. But number one, the reason why many of us are introduced to this business is the health aspect, which we're going to talk about this evening. Secondly, it's really the business. It's not just about income, it's residual income and the creation of an asset with every customer and every ambassador that you enroll in your business. And thirdly, it's
pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward. And the company was founded on the pay it forward concept. Everything that we do, when we have a good result with product, we share our story. That's part of paying it forward. For those who say, hey, I know other people who might want to earn income, or maybe they don't have any residual income. They may make good income, but they have no time, or they want to change that. And so they have no residual. And so we pay forward that message. But the other thing that we pay forward is that none of us, there's not a person on this call tonight, including us, who would be here if someone had not paid forward to us. I mean, that's how Lisa got here. Someone paid it forward to her, Dr. Stephen Gant. Eva paid forward what she had gotten as in training, paid it forward to Lisa. Lisa then did that in Indiana and Kentucky and all over the place, Tennessee, and then eventually paid it forward to my sister in Arkansas a year later. My sister paid forward to me. And so anyway, it's about pay it forward.
And so what we love to do is we love to recognize those people on the leaderboard who are paying it forward at the highest rate for new enrollments.
Right. Enrolling
And
new people.
it's a very exciting leaderboard.
Yes. So, it's still the 6th of the month, but we recognize this weekly. So we look at the leaderboard on Sunday afternoons and we say, who's on our team that's there? And so let's start out with number 24 in, I don't know, what's the name of the
It's
town
the
she lives in?
Evansville
Evansville area is Susan Everett.
Woo!
At number
Susan Everett.
24, right? Number 22, one of my favorite numbers. Go ahead.
Connie Grease
In Indiana.
Indiana. Give her a big shout out. You guys, we have a great video to post. Connie shared this with a beautiful lady named Marilyn, who just in 1 month on product just feels so much better. She had a lot of aches and pains. I'm going to post that video. So it just shows you how quickly that you can get on the leaderboard by just sharing it with somebody that you really care about.
And then number 6, someone who's very familiar with being on the leaderboard. And as a result of that, she just earned her Jeep. She just hit area ambassador. So out of Tyler, Texas is once again, Laura McClendon at
Woo!
number 6. And then actually then right ahead of her are Steve and Jenny Todd at number 5.
Who enrolled today?
Enrolled some people
Yeah,
today.
they did. They're always working it.
And we almost missed this. We almost missed this number 1 because they're so new to our team. But we're looking at the board going, hey, number 1 is not Jason Smith. Who is it? It's Tim Alexander, who was under Jason Smith. And so I texted Jason. I said, Jason, you lost the top spot to one of the people you sponsored. That's what you want to do.
Absolutely.
You want your top spot to be replaced by someone that you brought into the business. And so anyway, Alexander's are number 1 right now in Zalise.
It's very exciting, guys, because what all these 5 people on the leaderboard are people who are really plugged in to live meetings. And those are, the country is opening up. If you're in an area that doesn't have live meetings yet, start them in your own place. I don't care. It's your kitchen table, it's your condo, pick a spot, Panera Bread. This is really the way we build this business, is just one person at a time. And it's most effective belly to belly.
Yeah. And so I would say on the leaderboard right now, there are people who are plugged in every single week to these calls. I'm looking at the leaderboard and I'm thinking back over the last few weeks as well, plugged into our calls, hosting meetings, showing the plan. We know personally that that's what these people are doing. So, it's not a scientific rocket.
No,
it's not rocket science here. Okay. It's what it is just taking the action and, moving forward and doing the things that we talk about week in and week out, and without slowing down for waiting on those who are still waiting. If we're waiting on those who are still waiting, then we don't ever move forward.
Right.
So these people were moving forward. Anyway, congratulations to all of you on the leaderboard.
Way to go, you guys.
Let's keep it rocking.
And so today we're going to shift, because we have spent a lot of time really teaching, coaching, really talking about building this business. We've given over the last couple Sundays the great story of Team Wildfire, Jim and Linda Ferguson and Laura McClendon, and finding Jason, and how exciting that Stephen actually made a live meeting at Tyler. And we'll hear about that another time. But I was really inspired. Heather Walsh is a wonderful nurse who's in New Jersey, and she reached out to us and said, really, products and product results are very important. And she was very inspired to hear about B12, methylated B12, and wanted to, have a little bit more information on product. And so I said, what, let's just devote a call of gratitude about product results, because many of us, and I got the benefit of going back to Evansville this last week, and we were able to just get around the fire and talk about sharing our results of people who've been on Ultracell and then CBG and other products, but especially those 2 products for now 3+ years. And what we found is that these products actually become more effective over time. And so it's really great to hear about these long-term usage stories, and then also news stories of people who, are just like, wow, I've only been on this product a couple days or a week, and these are some of the results that I'm experiencing. But I wanted to kind of give a caveat, because we always know that These products are really in the dietary supplement category. They support the structure and function of the human body. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, mitigate, or cure any disease, as we know, but they have a very important function in the healing of the body and overall health. And so that's really the message that we want to communicate. And so tonight we're going to have a little bit of a form. I want to just open it to anyone who wants to share their product story. I want you to kind of tell your name, where you're from, how long that you've been using the product, and, just basically what is the product that you have had a great result from. And we're going to try to keep it, 3 minutes or so, just because we want to hear from as many people as possible.
Right. That's so just before we begin to share, I want all of you just to remember, recognize, if there's anything that we can all be grateful for day in and day out concerning Zalease, is that the company has invested so much in making these products right, to make them best, to make them effective. And, they've done just a huge investment in making this work and making it work well for us, and the science to match with our bodies. And so we're finding such great results. And so, when there's a meeting or when a presentation is shown, sometimes we end up telling people just way too much about just the product result, without giving them an opportunity to maybe think about how this could help other people, but also the business side of it and so forth. But tonight we really do want to have you share the product, your product experience, because it is the product experience that is the life-changing thing across the board. And being able to share that briefly in a way that's concise is super important. But also in live meetings, like I mentioned a minute ago, and we are getting back to live meetings. Probably the most powerful thing that happens in those live meetings is a brief, genuine sharing, without going on and on and on, a brief, genuine sharing about what this has done for you. So it gives space for other people to do the same thing. So
with no further ado, I'm going to just turn it over to whoever wants to start. I've actually asked a couple of people to share their story, because they've had some really great long-term results. And I think I'm going to go ahead and ask Jim Ferguson to get us started, because Jim has a great brain health result. Didn't happen overnight. So Jim and Linda, can I bring you guys on to kick this off?
Absolutely. And, and it goes back, and without belaboring and going into too much detail, I had suffered numerous concussions playing football and rodeo and other things in the past. But in 2013, I was rear-ended in an auto accident, and I suffered a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. And it left me unable to really process anything. It left me to where I couldn't drive a car for over 8 months. I couldn't read a simple paragraph, and process it, and 5 minutes later repeat to you what I just read. I couldn't tell you that. And the noise was deafening, the tinnitus, the roaring in my head, and the depression was very, very deep. And because when you lose your ability to be who you are, you lost who you are. And so I was out of practice for over 3 years. And when you were the breadwinner, or whatever you want to call that, I was the main treating doctor in our practice. And it really left, it financially devastated us. We had girls in college, we had boys that were still in grade school, and it was really hard. And I was out of practice for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I turned to her and I looked to her like this, because all of that is a jumble of fragmented memories. I can't really explain to you just what a deep and dark fog that was and how deep the depression was. And in fact, in 2017, the year before we saw this business, I went to one of the top functional neurologists in the country, and he didn't give me any hope at all. In fact, he told me that I had a progressive degenerative disorder, that all they could do is monitor my decline. And so that's just kind of where I was, and that was the future that I was facing. And we started taking the products. I had no expectation whatsoever. To me, it was snake oil and ghillie juice or whatever else you want to call it, but I didn't have any expectations. I was trying it just for the taste, just to see, if it tasted like I thought it would, like some of these other products taste, that are out there. I knew my patient compliance wouldn't be good, and they wouldn't get the results from it either. And so, but when I first started taking the product, my brain fatigue, when I went back into practice, and Linda can kind of fill in the gaps on this, I was sleeping 5 and 6 hours a day between patient visits. I would put on the face, put on the persona, hi, how you doing? And adjust my patients. And then I would lay down and crash between patients, because just the energy that it took to be up for 5 minutes absolutely drained me. And I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, and so whenever he began to take the product, he just continued to, his compliance was good only because I really enforced it. And he was not getting the effect that he really wanted to get, in the timely nature that he wanted to get. And, he said he had no expectation, but once you start taking something, we all have a mindset very much of how medications work. You take something that's a 4 to 6 hour half limit on that medication, and that's not how this product works. And so the mindset of that we had to really work through. I want to make sure that that 6 to 8 weeks after taking the product is when Jim got the result.
Right.
And it wasn't right away.
And in fact, right away, I got just tremendous drowsiness. It was part of my brain trying to heal.
It was. And so just to kind of wrap it up, it's been transformative, guys, for us. So, we could just go on and on. It's been just transformative. It's been wonderful, the effect that he's had. And I'll never let him know when he's 100%, but, it's restored his health. It's restored our lives. And we are forever grateful for this. And I would just tell you too, please, please, please don't wait to get your story before you share this product. Please don't do that. It's essential that you just share it, because you don't know how people are going to respond. And I say that because if we had waited, taken the product for a couple weeks and then say, oh, we don't have a story, we're not gonna, do this. Gosh, guys, it would have been a horrible thing. So please, there's so many stories that you're going to listen to, and just make sure that you share what this product does for so many.
Awesome. And Linda, just to clarify, it was Ultracell that was the product that
Ultracell
That's not all we
and
had.
Ultra Edge,
Yeah.
those two products.
Thank you guys so much for sharing. Very
bet.
great.
Thank you for letting us.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Next, anybody else would like to share their results?
Hey, Lisa and Hal.
Yes.
I'd like to share a story. One of my clients, I went to Waco to do assessments, and this lady had idiopathic tremors, which means we don't know what causes them. There's no medicine for it. You just have to live with it. So she was there, and she said she literally could not get the fork to her mouth to eat her eggs that morning. Like, they were falling all over the place. She's like, I'm going to have to get a special fork or something. And I said, well, let's try the CBD oil, 2 drops a day. Within 15 minutes, she came in and she's like, look at my hand. it's totally still, like totally stopped. And then she took the product and then she ran out. And within a day, it came back. But within 15 minutes of taking the product again, the tremor was gone. So she's like, okay, I can take this 2 drops a day to keep that away. And so I'm not saying it cures Parkinson's or anything like that, but it can help manage movement disorders. So that's something that if you know somebody who has a movement disorder, I would introduce them to this product and let them try it.
And for that person, it was mainly Ultracell, or was it CBG as well?
It was just the Ultracell.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Laura,
Laura.
Jeep,
Jeep,
McClendon, and Tyler, Texas. Thank you.
Laura, number 6 on the leaderboard. Who else would
Hey,
like to?
Lisa, I'll be glad to jump in.
Awesome, Mary Ellen.
This is Mary Ellen.
Rock
Yeah,
on.
I'm Mary Ellen Ziliak. I'm from Evansville, Indiana. Can you hear me this time?
Yes, we can. It's a little slow.
Wonderful. It's a little slow. Well, I'll try to talk fast then. I started Ultracell 3 years ago. Results have been wonderful. I started out a skeptic. I have lived with an autoimmune disease for over 20 years, so expectations were kind of low. But I was kind of the opposite of Jim Ferguson, that I had results within 20 minutes of my first dose of taking Ultracell. So I couldn't deny that I had dizziness lift, my sinuses drained. I felt better. And what I noticed, some of the health challenges I had started fading away, getting less and less. Things like trouble sleeping, pain, muscle spasms, mental fog. I couldn't balance a checkbook. I couldn't make change. I couldn't retrieve my emails because I couldn't remember how to do it. That all improved, and it seemed like the longer I was on it, the better I felt. So I stopped using my cane except for being outside on rough terrain. I was sharper. I wasn't searching for words. And my husband, Roger, said I was in a better mood. So I felt like I got my life back. So CBD is all we had starting out. I added CBG. I take both of those. In the last month, I have switched out the CBD to Rev V, but my results have been literally life-changing because I don't lay down 5 or 6 times a day to rest. That was similar to Jim's, that I had so little energy. Now I put in a good day's work and I am so, so happy to get my life back. So everybody else is retiring and I'm like, hey, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So here I am.
That's good.
Awesome, Mary Ellen.
Lisa, it's Angela.
Hey, Angela.
Angela Noble from Newburgh, Indiana, and we got to enjoy Lisa over the weekend, which was great. About 2 years ago, I think it was, 3 years ago, actually, I was diagnosed with a disease that has tremors. Everybody knows what that is. And I had internal tremors that were causing me to, and on the outside, it looked okay. I wasn't shaking or anything. But I had these internal tremors and they caused me, my equilibrium to be off. I had this shaking inside. And you were talking about eating. That was one of the hardest things for me to manipulate was a fork. Picking up a cup of coffee with drool out of my mouth. Just so many things that were embarrassing. And yet the outside tremors weren't there. We were at the conference when they introduced the CBG and they gave us all a dose. And within 30 minutes, my internal tremors were gone. And I haven't had them since then. Some other things came back. I had, my handwriting got better. So my handwriting had gotten so bad it was scribbled and I couldn't read it. My equilibrium was cleared up, my balance. But it's hard for me to pick one product because I got a lot of things wrong with me. And so I take a lot of the products. And I would never, ever, ever be without my ultrasound, G. But my favorite product is still Dream. And one last thing, I had a person that had been in the business, left it. She never did much with it. She called me the other day and said, "Hey, have you got any of that Dream drops?" She hasn't slept in months. And I said, "Sure." So she came by and got a bottle. And she texted me the next morning and said, "I slept for the first time all night long and didn't wake up." And she said, "I feel wonderful today." So anyway, that's my story.
Awesome, Angela.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Angela.
much for sharing.
The other thing, just I'll throw in here, for those of us who've known Angela, one of the things that we noticed immediately is that the volume of her voice came back within just like a very short period of time. We literally couldn't hear her talking prior to CBG. I mean, she would talk in a group and you couldn't hear her. The volume just wasn't there. And then we talked to her on the phone. We saw her in a meeting, just within a matter of just weeks of taking CBG. So that was great. Just reminding you of what we noticed, Angela. So
Thank you for sharing, Angela.
Okay, go ahead. This is
Hey,
Carol.
Lisa, this is
Hey,
Julie.
Carol.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead,
go
Carol.
ahead, Carol.
Okay, thank you. I'm listening to everybody talk about neurological conditions and a long list of things that characterize that. And I'm the same way. It's kind of typical of neurology, I think, that there's so many things that affect you, and it's different from patient to patient, but a long list of symptoms and a very, very short list of therapy that's available to you. I was diagnosed in 2016 with Parkinson's, and they prescribed a standard dose of medicine that they prescribed to everybody, and that was pretty much the end of what they were able to do for me. And I was in pretty big trouble. I lost 30 pounds. It was less than 100 pounds. Had inflammation, had insomnia that kept me up all night, restless leg syndrome. There were just internal tremors. There's so many things, and the doctor simply said, he'd done all that he could do, and unless I turned it around somehow, I had 2 years to live. I always say that's when I started praying, and so I asked God for help, and He brought me Zalise. So I'm sure it's not the first time that He healed through oils, but it was the only time I experienced it, and it was definitely God's gift to me. I have gained 20 pounds. I can drive a car. I can walk a mile. I can do almost all of the things now that I was able to do before. But I'm still a little foggy. There's times when I just can't seem to get 2 and 2 together. But otherwise, my symptoms are much milder than they were before. It took, like one of you said, it took me 60 to 90 days before that really kicked in, and I've had CBD in the beginning and CBG now. But I have, for all those other little conditions, I have Dream for the insomnia, and Edge, Ice was very helpful. I had a lot of inflammation that took care of. So I kind of dabble in all of them now.
That's awesome, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
Carol, the one thing you didn't say is just how effectively you're line dancing now.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost perfection.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I was just counting it up. So September is when G came out, CBG 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Susan got that to you immediately. So
Yes, she
your
did.
3-month, your 90-day would put us so October, November, December, and we saw you at the Christmas party in Evansville, and you literally did line dance with us. I had to step out of the line to take a video of you line dancing because I was just in shock because when I had seen you last in August, just prior to September, we had honestly serious concerns for your direction. And so for us to see you 3 months later, and then we come to your place a few months ago and you whipped us in bowling and golf.
Speak for yourself.
Oh yeah, Lisa won it all.
I won
But
bowling.
nonetheless, that shows you the caliber of talent in the room. Anyway, so all right. Thanks, Carol. Thank you
And
for
Carol,
sharing.
do you know that your cohort is number 24 on the leaderboard? Susan Everett.
Oh, I heard that a little while ago. That's incredible, isn't it?
It is. I'm proud.
Yes,
Okay.
she'll be number one by the end of the month.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Hey,
I
hey guys,
will-
it's Patty. It's Patty
Patty.
Bug.
Hey, Patty Bug.
Hey, I absolutely love hearing all these stories because I've heard some of them before, but not all of them. But I think it's important for us to realize that some of us didn't know that we needed help because we didn't have anything major going on in our life. But then after we actually took the product, we realized how much it enhanced our lives. I remember coming to over there at that coffee shop in Evansville. I started in May 3 years ago and started on the product CBD. That was it, just CBD, berry CBD. And I think Donna and I rode together that day. And up until that point, when I was in seminars through real estate and stuff, literally I would only be able to sit for 35, 40 minutes and I have to get up and stretch because my back, I'm sure Linda can tell you all about it, but it's SI joint. SI joint gets stiff. But anyway, so we sat through that meeting and I was just, Lisa, I take notes like you do. And I was just taking those notes and 2 hours went by and I got up and, I think Jim and I were riding. I think Donna might've been with us and we were crossing the bridge. And this was 2 weeks after I had been taking the product faithfully every night. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I just sat through a seminar for 2 hours and I'm not stiff. And that sounds minor, but when you have to sit a lot, in a desk and stuff, you're not supposed to do that. I know, but there's times you do need to, and I just couldn't believe the difference. Now, I've been a product user, fast forward, and what we talked about a little bit with CBG, let's just say it made me real regular, and all y'all know what that means. And that's important. That's real important. But right now, at 67 years old, I still say I can outwork most about 40-year-olds, and I could not do that without CBD, and I could not do that, and I couldn't play 36 holes of golf and do just fine. So sometimes we don't think we need it, but we all need it. So I just think that's real important to share that too.
Awesome, Patty. Thank you.
Rub it in about those 36 holes of golf, Patty. You just go right ahead. Rub it all in there.
Well, just in case you want to know, yesterday I shot 85, so I am getting better.
Wow.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, all of us need it. We don't have anything. I've helped people get off opioids, and those 2 people that I helped get off opioids, I will never forget that. I will never forget that. So, we all need this supplement, whether we think we have a major problem or not. We all need it. That's all I'm saying.
Thanks, Patty.
And Patty, it was you sharing it with, who was it that introduced it to Jim and Linda?
Donna Phillips. How many times you gonna tell me that, girl?
I
just
need to remember her name because God
Yeah.
bless her. I'm grateful for her
We're
every single
grateful
day.
for-
I'm telling
and-
you, her appointment was just before mine. That's the only reason I didn't.
So that's
Good
a-
thing you did some little more with it since that time than.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
Patty shared it with Donna Phillips, who shared it with their doctor, Jim and Linda Ferguson. So Patty, keep sharing, girl. Thank you for that.
I'm going to. Love you guys.
Love you. Anybody else want to share?
Well,
We
Haley's
will.
been out.
There's Gio. Go
Hey.
ahead, G, and then I'm not sure who was next, but
I didn't hear who that was. I'm sorry.
We'll figure it out. Go ahead, Gio.
Well, I'm glad Patty mentioned the gut because I was going to go there because nobody else had. That's how it's helped me. And so since Patty mentioned that, I will just say that I wanted to talk about, we've got a new gal named Tara, and thank you, Lisa, for coming and helping launch her. And we had a great week with you. We missed Hal, but we really had fun with Lisa Hal.
I know you guys.
But Tara, I wish Tara was on because she had such a story. I'm going to tell it real fast. The interesting thing is she just came in with that stimulus, and so that she could get the Lachey. And we thought she'd kind of get all excited about the Lachey, which she likes. But when she got the stimulus, she got that little bottle of Ultracell. And the Ultracell is what got her so excited because she came in gold with the Ultracell package. And it's because she has had migraine. She said debilitating migraines for 20 some odd years. And she has not had a migraine since she started taking Ultracell. So we thought that was pretty awesome.
No doubt. So she went from stimulus for Lachey, the add-on Lachey at a discount when we did that. And she got the little tiny, 14-day or less mini bottle, which we get hundreds of, it seems like over time, and have shared. That's how I got started, was a mini bottle like that.
Right.
But for something that's been a lifetime of migraines, I'm sure she was shocked. And she went from the stimulus pack at $49 to a gold pack at $1,300 just because of that. So again, this is why we're telling these stories.
Right.
Thank you, Gio.
That's awesome, G. And was it Jenny Todd that was talking earlier?
It was me.
It was
I
Beth
thought it was
Plumley.
Beth. I thought it was Beth.
My friend, go for it, Beth. Share, please.
Hey, well, my story is I had trouble with head pain for 25 or plus years. And it was regular, pretty much 5 out of 7 days a week. And had tried everything, even had an implant, a TENS unit implanted to try and ease it up. Been on every medication, was in, as Dr. Jim said, brain fog from all the medications I was on, trying to raise children by myself and don't remember half of it. So anyway, I met Lisa through a crazy way. And I started on the product last January. And I went from having severe head pain several times a week to I have only had 2 or 3 in about 16 months. And one was because I ran out of product, which won't happen again. And I also had another side benefit that Lisa and Hal were privy to before I told my husband about, because I was afraid he would kill me. I had suffered from, in addition to my head pain, a disorder where you can seizures, fall down, flop around. And I was on daily meds for that. Well, I ran out of my meds and my doctor would not fill them. So I went off my meds this year. And in the past, if I had ever missed my meds for 2 days, I would have a seizure. I went off them in, I think, January, and I have not had anything or even any auras or any stressors because I would twitch also sometimes in sunlight. And so that has been a huge, it's changed my life. So
Awesome, Beth. And you shared it with somebody that you love, haven't you?
Shared it with my husband, Greg, AKA Moon Jumper.
Moon Jumper, tell us your story.
Well, like Beth, we started last January, so been on it for a little over a year. I was very skeptical. Same story as many people have. Skeptical, didn't believe in it, thought, yeah, whatever. Got on it. After about 3 days, I didn't really notice any difference. But I was laying in bed one night and I had a pain in my hip joint. And I always refer to it as my giddy up. You know, I've got a hitch in my giddy up. So Beth said, well, let's try this rub-on stuff known as topical. And I said, yeah, I said, I'll try it. So I rubbed it on there and I laid real still because I was scared to death. It was not going to work. I really was. I was concerned this ain't going to work, you know. But I lay there for about 5 minutes maybe. And I finally decided, you know, it's either going to work or it's not. And so I moved my legs and my hips around and that pain was gone. It was that fast. I mean, within 5 minutes. One of the more bigger things that I've gotten results with is I am a type 1 diabetic, have been for 55, 56 years, insulin dependent. Through many of those years, no control. Of course, back then they didn't have control. You went and peed in a test tube to check your sugars. You know, of course, now they have all the great stuff, but I see an endocrinologist every 3 months, just like clockwork. And one time, I believe it was long towards the middle end of last year, I went to my endocrinologist. She runs lab work, runs my A1Cs, and she goes, oh my gosh. She goes, your A1Cs are incredible. And I'm like, really? And she said, yeah, they're, you know, you're in like right at 7 with your A1Cs. They normally ran upper 7s or 8s. And she said, well, what are you doing? I said, nothing. I eat the same, do the same stuff. And she said, oh, that's incredible. So she ran a whole lab work on me. I mean, cholesterol's the whole 9 yards. And she goes, these are amazing. She goes, you got to be doing something. And I said, I'm really not. And I said, well, you know, I did start a product called CBD and CBG. She just laughed and said, well, just keep it up. Long story short, I have been able to decrease my insulin take. I'm on an insulin pump. I've decreased my insulin intake by at least half, if not more. I've had 2 heart attacks due to diabetes, numerous stents due to diabetes, but I am now off of one of my blood pressure pills. I still take one, just probably because I don't have the guts to just drop it and see what happens. I just, you know, but I've been able to drop quite a few meds that have been prescribed to me from the doctor. And the cool part of it is every time I go back every 3 months, my doctor is just amazed. She's just floored. She's like, all of your stuff just keeps getting better and better. My A1Cs now are down to about 6 with taking a whole lot less insulin, which is it's a savings and money there, but it's helped in numerous other areas. As a couple of ladies said, gut issues, tired. 2 years ago, right before we met, Hal and Lisa, I couldn't even walk to my mailbox and back. I would huff and puff and breathe and it was very rough. But since then, since I've got on my regiment of CBD and CBG, I've pretty much built a house. We've got our house built. Pretty much moved in. We still lack some furniture, but with COVID, you can't get it. You can order it, but it takes it months and months to get here. But anyways, in saying that, I was able to do it. Before I met Hal and Lisa and got on this stuff, I couldn't go to the mailbox. Now I'm building houses. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. My insulin and diabetes is just regulated so well, and it's just increased everything. My metabolism, everything. I feel good. I feel wonderful.
So Greg, we're not trying to prescribe here, but about what kind of, how much do you take of CBD and CBG? When do you take it?
I take it twice a day. I take just like a quarter dropper of each one in the morning and a quarter dropper in the evening. Of course, I also take the Dream, which somebody had talked about a while ago, and the R&R. And I've gotten off, I was taking Ambien every night, which it makes you sleep, but it leaves you googly goggly in the mornings and you just don't feel good. So I switched over and started the Dream and the R&R, and I get a great night's sleep and feel good in the mornings and feel rested. And yeah, I just take a quarter dropper twice a day of each one.
That's great. So you've moved beyond googly goggly and you're giddy up into getting the house done. The other thing no one's mentioned, but I think you guys might be a good example of this, and I'm kind of not kidding, but you guys just survived building your own house, living basically in your shop for how long?
3.5 years.
A little over 3 years.
In the last year and a half, you've done it while building the house, right? And a lot of stressors in your life outside of this, and y'all have moved into your new home, and you have yet to file divorce papers. Is that correct?
It's true.
Okay, so the other side, one of the benefits of CBD and CBG truly is some of this mood stabilization, leveling out, and just positive, keeping a positive spirit about us. Honestly, that's a lot of stress you guys have been through.
It is. When you go from our shop is literally 25 foot by 25 foot. That was our whole house for over 3 years. Living room, bedroom, bathroom, laundry, you name it. That was our whole house. It was not central heat and air. We had a window unit. We froze to death in winters. We burned up in the summers. But, I first and foremost, I thank the good Lord for how he managed to get us where we're at. But without the CBD and CBG, like I said, I couldn't do nothing. And we done quite a bit on this house ourselves while dealing with the stress of living in that little building.
We thank you guys.
Oh yeah.
Great part of the story, guys. It really is part of
to you guys, because Lisa caught me at a restaurant and said, "Here, let me squirt this in your mouth." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
This is pre-COVID.
This was pre-COVID, yes, but just barely, because it was long towards the end of January, and then COVID hit, in March. So
awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing.
We got about
truly
10 minutes left.
I wanted to turn it over to Stacy, who's a very new ambassador, and have her share her story. Stacy,
sorry about that. Okay,
there you go.
I'm back.
Yeah, go Stacy.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you.
Oh, I love hearing these stories. I mean, it just warms my heart just to see people happy and healthy. But yeah, my story is a lot shorter than other people's, but I've been on Bliss for about, I want to say 5 weeks, I think. But I have battled anxiety for most of my adult life. I've had panic attacks. I never slept because, you know, the anxiety in your brain. I've been on lots of different pharmaceutical medications for my anxiety, and they would help, but you know, it would have some really bad side effects that, you know, wasn't good for my family. You know, that brain fog was always there. It just kind of numbed me, you know, and I just knew it wasn't good. So I got off all my anti-anxiety medication. I want to say like January, February. And so I was looking for something because I was struggling. So I needed something, but I wanted something natural. I started reading about CBD. I was really interested. But I didn't want to just try anything because I'm very picky about what I put in my body. So the word of mouth was really powerful for me. And when I met someone, Julie Smith, who shared that with me, I was like, oh, I'll try it, you know? So I tried it. And y'all, the first night I slept like 10 hours. Like my husband came in and checked on me. He's like, are you okay? Because you never sleep in. You never sleep like this. And I was like, I slept. And he was like, did you take a sleeping pill? And I said, no. And I didn't share with him right away what I was doing because he was very against that kind of thing. So it took me like 4 or 5 days, maybe a week to kind of open up to my husband about what I was trying. But by that point, I was sleeping so good. I was waking up happy. My mood was just more even. He says my smile was back. Just our relationship was better. And he's like, okay, I know you're on something. What is it? So I said, it's these little drops. It's CBD. It's bliss. I'm putting them under my tongue every night. And he's just like, wow, that's it? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, that's awesome. He goes, I kind of want to learn more about that because my husband was in the military and his story is a little bit different, but he's always struggled with like PTSD and just different things and mood and stress. And he's like, I'm kind of interested in that. Can we learn more about it? And I was like, yeah, we can learn more about it. So I got him on the phone and he's lost about 12 pounds. And my mother-in-law's been on it a week and a half, and her testimony is even more incredible. Like she's in menopause and her hot flashes are gone. She's sleeping, her headaches are gone. I mean, she's like, I need more of this. Where can I get more? Like, so, and it's very powerful and because it works.
Stacey, that's so cool. So tell us about the Bliss dosing. Is that the only product that you're using to get those results?
I just started, I'm almost out of my bottle, but I added the CBG just a few days ago. I wanted to just try more things so I could speak to more things, but I'm going to keep doing the Bliss because it's really worked for me. So I take 3 drops under my tongue just at night.
Wow.
I did try in the morning, but it didn't seem to add any more to me. I think I was good with just the night. And so for me right now, that's good.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, James said he was going to make sure he has Bliss on your auto ship, a couple of bottles every month.
Yeah, that sounds like something he'd say.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know, if it works that well, you just don't ever want to run out. Like Beth said, I'll never run out again.
I will never run out again. And my mother-in-law is saying the same thing. She'll never run out of Bliss. Yeah.
That is so awesome.
And
Stacey,
James lost 12 pounds.
What is he using?
All in his middle. I mean, and that's the only change he's made. He doesn't work out.
Which
product? Oh, yeah. Are you using CBG?
CBG.
He's using CBG.
That is amazing. So when we first heard about CBG, I'll remind some of you that came on board who were here at that time in September of 19. A lot of the testers were basically the diamonds and a few of the leaders. And every single woman said, CBG, what it did for them when their gut, as well as like slimming the gut,
Bloating.
bloating, weight
Mhm.
loss, all of that. Of course, we found out so much more, but that's very interesting and he hadn't even been trying, right?
No, that's the
Yeah.
only change he's made. Mhm.
That's
That's so
fantastic.
cool.
Well, Stacy, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Stacy.
sharing. And
It's fun.
best of luck, continued success, girl. We're watching
Thank
you. all.
you.
Awesome. Anybody else, you guys? We have time for about one more story. I could listen to you guys all night long, but we try to keep this at an hour. So anybody else want to share?
Yes, this is Lorena.
Yes.
I am going to actually not tell my story, but I am going to get the animals in here, if that's okay.
Sure. Get the animals in.
All right. Well, I have a few animal stories. I actually have my first bunny story my first bunny, which this guy says, okay, I'm done with this. He's going to get down. This is Crosswinds. But my first bunny, he was diagnosed with an enlarged heart, and I put him on CBD, and he was only supposed to live, he wasn't even supposed to live 6 months. And I believe because of the anti-inflammatory properties, he actually lived a year and a half, 18 months. And he actually lived a year to 2 years longer than his breed normally lives. So we're not sure exactly how old he was, but he definitely lived. We had him 9 years, and that's normally how long a bunny lives. We also had one that was at the House Rabbit Society that when he was there, all he did was run around the cage, and he was not ever neutered. But we brought him home, and everybody kept thinking he's going to go over the Rainbow Bridge. Well, when he came home, he calmed down. He was never able to get neutered, but he calmed down so much that he would actually sit in my lap and just chill out for hours at a time, which was really, nobody expected it. Now, whatever was going on with him, we only had him for 4 months, but the change in him was amazing. Now we do sell it at the Bunny House, and we actually have one of the women that has I'm trying to hurry, that has a dog that has seizures whenever she gets anxiety. And now she only gets it when they're going to have company or storms are coming, but it has made a difference even in her dog, that she actually got a third bottle to give it to her animals. So it is definitely helping animals. We've had it, bennies with pain all over their body. And I've had several people do that. So it's not just for us humans. It started with me, but now it's for the animals, and I'm doing much more research. So
Lorena, you did a great job sharing that.
Yeah, so no, you really did. And so here's my comment about it, and you too. I know you're okay with me saying this, because as you were telling the bunny stories, and you told 4 or 5, right? 3, 4, anyway, nonetheless, you were able to communicate those succinctly, on focus, on point, covering all those stories under the guidelines that we set out. You did excellent. And I will tell you that when we first met you, there's absolutely no way in the world we would have gotten through half of one of those in quadruple the time, right?
Correct.
Okay.
CBD, CBG.
Awesome, Lorena.
So great job.
Thank
Great
you so
job.
much for sharing. And you guys, hopefully you don't mind. I wanted to hear from Julie, because she has this story, and she's one of our newer ambassadors. So Julie, do you want to come to the line and share your story with us?
Sure. So,
Jason too.
yes. So we've been taking CBD and CBG for almost 2 months, I think. So we both have been sleeping. So, and I will say this, it did take several weeks to kind of get the rhythm and decide like where your drops, how much you needed, morning, night, that kind of thing. But after several weeks in, I'm totally sleeping amazing at night. Number one, it's like when you wake up at night and like, if you have to go to the bathroom or whatever at night, usually it would be a long time before I could go back to sleep. But now like I go right back to sleep. And even if, sometimes people snore, but, and then you wake up, but you can go back to sleep. And that's been my experience. I've been able to go back to sleep, which has been helpful. And we started right in on D and G together. For me, we are, I say this, I feel like I pretty much cook healthy meals for our family in general. That's just what we've done for a long time. That's what I've done. But I was kind of stuck, trying to lose a couple pounds, not anything, drastic, but trying to lose a couple pounds, but that wasn't coming off. But then when I started taking the CBD and G, and I feel like it's probably G that's doing this for me, I've been able to lose like 8 pounds since I started taking the both. And I haven't drastically changed my diet per se, because I feel like I've always cooked healthy meals at home. And we still go out and indulge when, here and there. And it's not like super restrictive, but.
Let me share just real quick. And I know we got to go. So the burn has helped me, I think, like appetite reduction has been good. But here's the real telltale about what she's saying. So typically when we have some stress in our family because of our children, she will not sleep.
Yes.
That's been a long journey for us. And it's got way better. So the night that Stephen came, we're getting text messages from our son who says, I may have fractured my finger.
He's playing football.
He's playing football. So we're trying to, we can't help you right now. We got people in our house, Stephen's standing right in front of me. And then our daughter comes home and she's got things
sick.
Running from both ends. And so she's up in our upstairs during that. And so just crazy stressful going on. And then we're having this house meeting and all this stuff. Normally she would be done and not sleep that night. She would stay up all night long, worrying and all that. And she got in bed and slept all night. So that shows you right there for sure that it's calmed the anxiety that's there and the stress level that's there, and helped her, just manage with situational stress.
Yeah. Cause normally yes, for sure. If that situation with all the things that happened, I would have not slept at all that Thursday night. But, I think I did from the CBD. So, yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, that's something that really everyone can relate to, truly. And I just, appreciate you guys, not only the results that you're experiencing, but also the rate at which you're sharing them with other people. And hopefully you guys, this is going to be recorded. Obviously it's recorded right now. It's going to be uploaded to Team Unlimited. But I started this 3.5 years ago because of my son's results. It was really life-changing for us. He had brain health issues and we had gone the pharmaceutical route, 30 medications over a 5-year period. And he had just very demonstrable results in 3 days. And when he came to me and said, I feel better, I knew that this was something that I had a moral obligation to share with the world. And one of the things when we see just even a handful of our ambassadors, thank you so much for those of you who shared tonight. I know that there's a lot others who are here because of product results. We just didn't have time for everyone. But if you guys, if you believe what you're hearing, we have an obligation to pay this forward. And that's really where sharing this is really, it's not about business, you guys. It's about a moral obligation to help people who are suffering. And there's just a ton of different kinds of results that were expressed tonight. And you guys, if just go share this with a few people and teach them how to share it with others, and you will have a thriving business. And it's just going to keep getting better and better, because is it not awesome?
Well, just wait till you have a team like this, like when you have a team like what we get to hear tonight and you invite them to tell their stories, it just it's just so awesome.
And that's
so-
one of the benefits of really having, we do it on Zoom, but having that local group, Julia and Jason, that you guys are just starting to put together, every single person is like an ember. And when they come together, it really creates this massive fire that we're working now with Beth and her team here in Arkansas, but it's not as big of an ember and fire as we had in Evansville. So because there's just more people that have been on product longer that have shared those results.
Well, or like the group in Tyler. I mean, we had one person, Laura, who'd been on it faithfully, sharing the product with hundreds and hundreds of people. But it wasn't until it clicked for her. She's like, I've been doing this one at a time. I need to multiply myself.
Right.
And boom, with Bethany, it just exploded. And so there's a fire burning down there right now, big time. And they may not feel like they're doing as much as they could, but there's a fire burning in that place. And part of it is because someone has been faithfully sharing for 2 years, okay? But then it clicked for them, and then they found someone who was willing to share it immediately, which was Bethany, who kind of didn't even know what she was doing, really, right? But she just shared. And then Julie, it turns it over to Jason and shares with Stacy. That was the connection with Stacy. And it's just sharing. And so that's what creates the fire. But anyway, so great stories
we're
for
really
everybody.
proud of you guys and just wonderful. This will be uploaded. Nate does a great job with that. But so I'm going to stop the recording right now. But I want to tell you guys that you are not done in your tenure with Zalise until you have built a 20 by 20. That means 20 on the right and 20 on the left. That is actually when it's like fairy dust is sprinkled on your organization. And you potentiate those results by a factor of 100. And so I just want you guys to know that you're kind of stuck with us because we're all in this together. We're all learning it together. You might be a day old in the business and you might have been in there 3.5 years. We're so excited that each of you guys are really, committed. You're committed. You're not just doing this for convenience. You're really here because of the commitment. So I'm going to stop the recording. I have 2 more things I want to share